Now, it is with a very heavy heart that I bring this video to you guys today. Recently on the channel, I did a video saying, what should I do with my super rares? After looking at the Sorare 26 gameplay announcement, I really felt in no man's land. I had 63 super rares in the Champ Euro region that were around the tier 2, maybe a few of them were like tier 1 level guys that play most of the time, are quite okay without being superstars. And after the lack of success I had with them last year, and looking at the single leaderboard and everything that Sorare had rolled out for this year, I was really in two minds with what to do. Do I persevere with the super rares again, or do I go back to the well? And what I mean by go back to the well is the same trading strategy I've been doing for the last 4 seasons or whatever it is on the bounce, where I look at all the threads, I look at all the branches, all the arms I've got in my club, in my gallery, and I try and evaluate what actually has some strong market value that I'm not really going to capitalise upon this year, that could be redeployed into whatever tactic, whatever strategy it is I feel needs a push or needs further enhanced this year. If I go all the way back to the very first season that Celtic were introduced to the platform, I sold all my big Champ Euro cards to make sure I could go out and get Celtic super rares and get Celtic rares for that very first season. The year after that, I then ended up selling a lot of the cards that I had heart and soul in, you know, guys that gave my club character, gave my club, you know, the kind of the rise that it had, those zeros that we turned into heroes, those diamonds in the rough, and I feel like I lost a little bit of personality in the squad around that time. And then last year, I sold all my Celtic super rares, my Callum McGregor unique, and any other super rares that were kind of in that category as well, to go on and fund, you know, the budget Champ Euro effort that we had this year, the Celtic effort that we had last year as well. And then when we come to this year, I'm looking at everything and I'm thinking this super rare whole cohort, this whole allotment, has to be the next arm of the gallery to chop off so that I can go after all of the in-season money that is on offer for Celtic stacks in the streaks and in the leaderboards in the Sorare 26, you know, makeup, the way we've seen it laid out in front of us. Now, the very first thing I did before like selling these super rares or whatever is I went on to Discord, and this is something that I've did time and time again. I've mentioned this on content, but I feel it's a good time to bring it up again for anyone that's out there that's brand new. But when you go into the Sorare Discord server, and I'm not much of a Discord guy, but when you get into the Discord for Sorare, you just need to scroll down on the left hand side here, and then you'll find the market tab. And in here, I went into the section that for people that are looking to buy and sell galleries, and the want to sell section, and I just let all the people know I'm selling all these super rares, offers accepted, DM me. I then go through this list of people that are all saying I'm buying stuff, and I sent them all a copy and paste direct message of, this is my gallery name, these are the cards I'm selling, and you know, I await your offer essentially. A bunch of those offers came back quite quickly, and you know, I wasn't too happy with a lot of them, but they gave me a gauge, they gave me a kind of bar, a yardstick on what the trader accounts will offer me for all my super rares. Now, I looked at that value and I thought, do you know what, I could probably sell 6 cards and make that money and then try and sell the rest to the traders. So I then went to my super rares and I looked at the best 6, 7, 8 cards. I listed them up for around market value, a little bit above, right? Because I didn't want to just throw them out, you know, and just get nothing for them, as it were. I was expecting some direct offers to come. Didn't really expect anyone to do the buy now button. And I got offers, but there wasn't that many of them, and they weren't really that good, to be quite honest with you. So I left them out on the market for a full market cycle, for a full week. And then when those listings ended, I went back into Discord and renegotiated all the deals, and basically just made sure I got a deal that in this type of endeavour, I'm being very patient. Some of the traders weren't too happy. They're expecting people to be in a bit of a panic and a fire sale type of situation. And in those cases, you will just lose. You'll leave a little bit of money on the table. But with me showing that kind of patience and composure or whatever, I feel it put me in a better position to do the best deal for me possible, where I was able to squeeze out literally every pound and penny and crumb of ETH out of the deal that I possibly could, because once the cards are sold, they're not coming back. So for anyone, you know, maybe in-season cards last year that are going classic, or you know, it could be anything. If you are ever looking to sell your gallery, or a batch of your gallery, or a strand of your gallery, I recommend kind of following those steps to make sure you maximize the amount of money you can get. Because when I listed those cards on, if 2 of them sold for like full value, jackpot, I'm quids in, because the rest of the batch, the rest of the bundle, yeah, it would have diminished in value slightly, but I don't think, I think it would be counterbalanced very nicely by actually selling the cards yourself on the secondary market. So that was a bit of a painful experience, and I mean painful in terms of my heart. I was so sad to see those super rares go, because we'd made so many memories with a lot of them. A lot of the actual real life players I've got a strong affinity to now as well. And yeah, it's just it's the end of an era, as it were. Now that gave me a sizable war chest to go back out into the market and, like I mentioned earlier in the video, re-strengthen the gallery, redevelop the gallery the way we wanted. Last time we were on the channel, I'd been doing some transfer business. You know, I went and picked up Shin Yamada, Nicolo Trisoldi, Raul Gustavo. I did a little trade for Ronald Araujo as well, where I took an in-season Quattro that wasn't going to be in-season for much longer, and did a straight trade on this. Now on the values here, you can see why the bot accepted it very quickly, and sometimes people can do deals like this and feel remorse, like, oh, maybe could have squeezed a bit more out of it. But don't get greedy. You know, if you see a good option, you see a good opportunity and you can make it happen, it's all about the gain. Gaining Ronald Araujo is worth giving away a Quattro, even if I'm losing a little bit of value, just to get it in nice and quickly. So I think this was the last piece of business I did before, you know, selling the super rares and before coming back to talk to you now about it all. Shin Yamada has now completed his move to Celtic, by the way, so that's an in-season forward, and with Inamura now at Celtic as well, an in-season defender. I've already got a bit of a head start for the in-season Celtic contingent. But with Araujo, I do need to round off those edges in Champ Classic, because Champ Classic is SO7 4-team entry. So I want to make sure I'm way across. I've got great quality options in defence, midfield and attack, etc. to try and keep the Champ strategy moving in a kind of forward trajectory, upward trajectory, as it were. After the Ronald Araujo, I also picked up Nicolas Fernandez Marcal. This was before the super rare money came in, but he's moved to NYC, so I had to just go and snap by him. And then from the super rare money, I went and got a Bernardo Silva in for 20 quid. Now that goes really nicely with my Cherki, with my Doku, with my Savio, with my Guardiol, and maybe I'll try and add in like a Phil Foden or something like that in time. I then went and picked up a Franz Kratzig. Now, some of you guys that are really keen on the content and never miss a video, you'll know that I was very excited for anyone that would be interested in Kratzig. Moving to Salzburg, I think, is a massive move. I think he's going to do incredibly well. But now that Austria has actually been moved into the same division as Scotland, this was a player I wanted to snap up really quickly. I think he's going to be very decisive. I think he's going to be an AA magnet. And for a defender card of that kind of scope, could be a very good classic option in the Challenger in-season competition. I then got this other NYC card that finally got issued. Hopefully it's a nice little rookie. And then I went out to try and replace some of those super rares with rares, because I've done this before. Sold a super rare that I really liked, not bought the rare when it's been super cheap, and then because I ID players that are good at football, they then maybe show that and then the price goes away. So tried to get ahead of that this time around. We've got a Rodrigo Riquelme who's moved to Betis for a £5. I got Miguel Gutierrez for a £5. I got Marcos Llorente for about £6 or £7, but that was the current version, the 24-25 season. All the classic Llorentes were like 20 quid. So I got a newer version and managed to just do a trade. You know, so we got there in the end. I already have an Atletico collection from this season. We finished off the Lille collection. We did a wee trade to bring in Renato and Timo Weah, who's just moved to Marseille. Could be quite useful. And then I went and got a Robert Lewandowski. Now, he's very, very cheap these days. He's obviously old and all the rest of it. I get it. But as far as like a striker goes, it's kind of hard to argue with what Lewandowski offers, especially when you think about you've got 4 teams. If you've got Lewandowski in team 4, 3 or 2, you're probably doing quite well, I would think. And again, another example of just get the deal done. We put a couple of quid over the table and then we traded 2 classic cards that have probably got diminishing values, especially Montiel losing in season utility and Scales being a bit, you know, who knows if he's actually going to start or whatever. From there, I then went and brought back in Sabitzer and Jan Kuto, who I had super rares for. I got a jersey number Yangel Herrera, but when I seen that Rami Bensebaini was under £9 and Julian Brandt was under £16, it made it really easy to just get a little Dortmund cohort together. I already had a Pascal Gross from this season that I crafted this year, or maybe I won him, I forget, but that was nice and fun. And then the last super rare replacement I got was Ivan Martin for £2. Again, the prices of all these guys is super nominal. How much of an impact will some of them make? Probably not much, if we're being honest, but having options, having variety, having depth is a bit of a mantra here at the club. I then swapped Unai Moreiro. I had the latest version of him. I wanted this one because it's a better collection score for me. And I tried for Foden, like I mentioned. I tried for Barco. I tried for Pogba. I tried to get Kelleher in because I need a Premier League goalkeeper. and I think I tried for a forward, but I forget who, and ultimately none of those deals were able to come, so I'm keeping the rest of the war chest, the rest of the transfer kitty, to get this in-season Celtic thing up and running. The first player I bought was Claudio Braga, who sounds and feels like one of these Brighton USG type of finds for Hearts. He's been doing very, very well so far. He came from the Norwegian 2nd Division, and I got this as a bit of an insurance policy because Negren and Daisen Maeda have been going for exorbitant amounts on auction, and I'll try and get an Adam Ida in. I have Shin Yamada, so that could work out okay, but in case Ida became too much or whatever, I just wanted to get this guy in as an insurance policy. We'll maybe sell him on before a ball gets kicked. We'll see how it goes. In case I get a second squad in, if I manage to get a second in-season squad out of my budget, then he will be very useful. But I was so pleased that the first Celtic card I picked up was Alistair Johnson. Last season I never got in-season AJ until December. At that time I only had one classic AJ, and I've now got 3 AJs. I never got the third one until like February last year, and I think AJ alongside Carter Vickers is the must-pick defenders for reliability and good scores. Tierney might become that, let's see. But to get AJ in at that price point, I was really happy with. And then Forrest, I expect to play the first couple of games of the season before Celtic do more transfers. And at £25, again, just felt like a great deal, a great bargain to be had. And with classic Schmeichel, we're looking at AJ in season. I really want an in season. We need a Celtic Tierney in, don't we? So if I'm going to go classic Schmeichel, double fullback defence, I already have Yamada and Braga. So between them, we might have a forward. We should have one. We'll try and get Ida just to solidify that. And then I really want a Rio Hatate, and that's me probably got my Celtic in-season stack set up and ready to go. But I've also made some bids on some tertiary, on some squad players, because I'm not too sure Osmond and Clark will continue to get cards issued. There's a lot of chat going on that the Belgian league after the first week stopped auctioning and instant buying tier 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So I am just worried about some of those players that they don't get a card and then they become not expensive but more than they should be later on. So I'm happy just to pick them up. Tilio is signed for Rapid Vienna in Austria, so again he could be an in-season option that we could use in another team and could be a part of the Celtic collection, the sticker book we've got for this year. So I've put a wee bid out on him as well. And once the dust settles on this, I have been trying to go out and get some other SPFL players in case the Celtic ones aren't affordable, like the Braga. I tried to get a Mitov, and I think for an in-season keeper, that's not too badly priced, by the way. Jensen, 20 quid for a defender for the pair. I think that's quite a good little build there for £100. I didn't get it, but if I was to go back for it, McGrath, 35 quid could be quite fine as well. But Keelan Adams is a player that I am quite, I don't know if I say desperate, but quite keen, quite motivated to go and buy. This is a player that, you know, if I walked by him in the street, I wouldn't recognise him, I don't think, right? But this is a player I've kind of worked with before. My last coaching appointment was at Glasgow University. I took the second team, and Keelan played for the first team. Keelan went straight into the first team because I think he had some youth academy background. He'd played at a decent level as a youngster. He might have played a match or two for me. I might have ran a training session or two that he was involved in. I don't remember. I'm not going to pretend that I know this guy or anything like that. But it's a player I have a connection to. And he's went from Glasgow Uni, like non-league football essentially, all the way up to the top flight. And he's got a Sorare card. Now he's going to be playing for Falkirk, so it's not going to be that great. Under 23 defender, and if I can get him for like £4 or £5, this is a card I'm actually quite buzzing to own because, like I say, it's a player I've got a connection to of sorts, and it's just a cool kind of full circle moment for me. So watch out for Keelan Adams. He might be the next big thing, who knows? But it's been very impressive. He's worked his way all the way up through the Scottish Pyramid, and now with Falkirk, he's found himself in the top flight. So that's just a kind of little side note, kind of action, putting a little bit of heart back into the Barcelona squad, as it were, because those super rares leave a void, man. They really leave a void. I've put so much emotional energy into that strategy over the last 4 years that basically to watch it crumble away, the values I went through the floor, didn't win me anything last year, and then the value I got for them is kind of going to end up just being a Celtic in-season rare stack for 63 super rares. Now maybe we get a second in-season squad out of this war chest, fine. Yeah, we've got some classic cards, fine. But it's a real kick in the balls. It really is, you know. So, you know, one door closes, another one opens. The super rare stuff, we don't need to worry about the headache and the pain of, you know, not winning and being against all these monster accounts and not doing well. And I'm even more excited than I've ever been before to really get stuck into my rares. Because make no mistake about it, a Celtic stack for me is super streaky, is very capable of doing the streaks. And when you add in the fact that, yeah, this should be very achievable, very attainable for Celtic cards, on top of the promos and the bonuses that Sorare are doing early season, where for kind of the first, Celtic's first game is the 3rd of August, and that's up until the end of September. So we're talking about the thick end of 8, 9, 10 game weeks. It's doubled. And in the opening half of that, the first 2 steps have been made even easier. Like I said on the Sorare 26 gameplay reveal that we did here on the channel, this feels kind of like cashback, and having a strong squad, a good squad, means that I should, and it's not about getting the 20 and 40 pound even easier, but it's getting to step 3 even easier, and then it makes step 5 maybe within grasp. This is something that I'm very excited to chase down and go for, and I believe that I do have the right caliber, the right quality of players ID'd and already brought into the club, that this is very much on the menu. Never mind adding in the Challenger in-season prize pools that are here, because again, Celtic firmly a Division 1 caliber stack, as long as I pick my captain right, don't get DNP, all that stuff of course that we know. And this will be my primary ROI generator. Now I don't think I'm going to do the best ROI I've ever done this year. Last year was probably my worst ROI on Sorare ever, but what I do think will be the best ever for me this year is my leaderboard yield, actually pulling money from the game rather than trading. I think my most successful year would have probably been a threshold season that I picked up a couple of podiums on, which would have been very successful, very profitable of course. But with this system, I think I can outdo that. I think I can outscore, out-yield what I've done in previous years. Yeah, maybe market trading is going to continue to be the same kind of level that I've seen already. But this will be my primary route to go, my primary strategy. My secondary strategy is going to be what it was last year, and that is Champ Classic, and trying to get into Champ on a budget. That's going to look totally different this year with the league-specific in-season competitions that we've got, and because it is going to be totally different, I'm not super pushing the boat out to reinforce the gallery for that. Like you've seen, Lewandowski's for 20 quid, Julian Brandt's for 15 quid. Bring those guys on all day. I'll go for it, and we'll see if we can get that one up and running as well. But with the new conversion, I've been saving. I've got 6,300 essence ready to go, and more essence is following in behind that. Don't you worry about that. So I feel that, like, for my rares, this could be, will be, should be my best season ever. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. Of course, on screen there now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you haven't done so already, please do hit like and subscribe for more content like this. Be sure to get into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on all of this. Of course, what are you doing, what I've done, and everything else in between, of course. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.